everyone, welcome to this week's Trimcraft Tuesday video. This week I am scrapbooking with the Dovecraft Fairy Tales collection. I'm making this sort of patchworky layout today. Now I was going to start off using the blue Moroccan-y tile paper that you saw right probably at the beginning, but then I changed my mind, decided it wasn't going to work for exactly what I had going on in my brain. So I just got this wood grain paper from my stash, and then I am taking this paper that's got all those little butterfly floral squares on it and just loosely cutting those up into as straight as possible squares as I can get them. And I've got one, two, three, four, five, six of those, and I'm just sort of laying them out like that, and then just putting a little bit of Distress Oxide in. Oh no, where's my list? Oh wait, no, here it is. Distress Oxide in Victorian Velvet around the edges, just to bring them up a little bit from that background. And then what I'm going to do, well, I'm sticking those all down with glue dots just for now, just a simple glue dot in the centre to keep them where I want them. And then I'm going to take scraps from the collection and just sort of fill in the gaps between those squares that I've created. I'm not measuring, obviously, I'm just sort of holding the paper up against the gap and then making a little mark about where I need to cut. And yeah, they're very rough. If you look very closely, they're certainly not perfect straight lines, but I don't have like a million different shaped dies, and I was too lazy to get the silhouette out to cut these, so yeah, just using my scissors, and they're all square and rectangular ish. So yes, I think I chose 3 other papers to do this with. I didn't want to go with too many different patterns and stuff just because it would be a little bit too much. So yes, I've obviously got the pink butterfly ones, and then I've chosen 3 other papers, as I said, and then I'm going to go around those again with some inks. I think here I'm using milled lavender on that yellowish paper, and then I use shaded lilac on the other 2, I think. I'm fairly sure I do that, but yeah, it brings them up, as I said, from that background. You can see each individual square or rectangle just a little bit better by putting that little bit of ink around the edges. As I've said a million times before, you don't have to use an ink like Distress Oxide for this purpose. I just use them because I have them, but any ink will do. You don't have to use a blending tool, just take your ink pad and rub it around the edges kind of thing, and that gets the job done. Anyway, so I went off and I used my sewing machine to go around each and every little shape there. Yes, it did take a while, and a big shout out to my awesome mum for coming and rethreading my bobbin for me because it ran out and I don't know how to do that and put it back in and stuff. I figured out how to thread the top bit of the sewing machine, but I can't do the bottom bit yet. We're not there yet, but yes. So yeah, I sewed around all of those. I was just snipping off all the little extra traily bits of thread you get, and then I also went around the whole layout, and I think I've totally forgotten what colour I did that in. I think it was the shaded lilac, though I could be wrong on that. Whoopsie, maybe it was the milled lavender. It was one of them. It was probably on screen at the time. I do apologise. Anyways, my photo here is another photo of my nieces when they were really diddy. I seem to be choosing photos of my nieces when they were little babies or little toddlers for this collection. It just seems to work really well for that. I was just going to back the photo with a doily. Well, actually, I backed it with that blue paper first just to bring it up again from the background. Originally, I was just going to add the doily behind it. The doily is from the collection, but then it was just like, I need something else to make it a bit more light and floaty and bring the photo up. So I've just taken this scrap of tulle and I folded it over. I stapled it together because it's just, material can be hard to glue, can't it? And just, you won't see the staples under the photo, so it was just a nice way to keep them under control. And then added the doily behind. Well, I cut it in half and added it behind the photo. I did do some readjusting because the first time I put one half of the doily down, it was sticking out way too much and looked, well, it just didn't look very good, really. But yes, I've just whacked that all down with a mix of double-sided tape and tacky glue because all that material and stuff just, the more adhesive the better, I feel, in this situation. Here I am bringing out some little bits from the decoupage pad from the collection. There's like just this little sort of grassy, flowery, mushroom toadstools thing that's like a nice little frame for the bottom of it. And then I wanted to incorporate one of the frames, so I snapped one in half. It's very scary to do at the time because you're like, what if I mess it up? But I did it, and I just shoved one half behind the photo there. I did think about using the other half of the frame, but then I thought it would just look a bit weird, so I'm just sticking with the one bit. And there I was just adding some foam just behind the photo because where I'd put that wooden frame in, it had lifted up a bit and I just needed to balance everything out. Here I am fussy cutting a couple of butterflies from the paper pad, And originally I was just going to fussy cut one and see how it went, but then it worked for me, so I fussy cut a few more. So I'm going to fussy cut some and place those where those butterfly squares are to make the butterfly a bit more 3D. I've also got another couple of the different ones, the blue one and the green one, fussy cut just to put around the photo for, you know, prettiness's sake. So yeah, I've added those to, what, 4 or 5 maybe? No, 4. No, 3. I can't. Doing very well there, Grace. I've added that to some of the little squares with the butterflies in, and then I thought I'd just mix it up a bit and then use the holographic glittery hollow, I can't think of the name of them, stickers, the 3D ones from the collection, and add those to the other butterfly ones that weren't covered, just to, yeah, make it a little bit more interesting, mix it up a bit. And I hadn't actually used any of those stickers yet, shock horror, so good opportunity to use those. Here, just adding a little sticker to the top of the photo because I'm framing it with lots of lovely bits. When a photo's got a lot of white space like that, I do like adding embellishments on top of it as well. I just find it's a good opportunity to do that, and sometimes it just looks so pretty and it contrasts so nicely against that white. So yes, I've just gone through the little sticker book and chosen some bits and pieces to use for that. So for my title, I've grabbed these Pink Fresh Studio Alphas. These are absolutely ancient. I have no idea what collection they're from. I purchased them from Amazon a good few months ago because just they were really cheap and on Amazon Prime, so I just nabbed them. And because they're pink and silver glitter, I just thought it would go so beautifully with this collection. So I've just chosen the word loveliness, thought it would match really nicely. Again, I probably say this ad nauseum for my regular viewers and subscribers, but sometimes I want to create pretty things and I don't have to have a title that's necessarily anything to do with anything. It's just there, it looks pretty, loveliness works, and yeah, there it is. Here what I'm doing is I'm taking some of the pegs from the collection. I will admit I often forget to use these. It's not one of the things I would naturally go for, so I often kind of just forget that they're there. And I just took some of the mini bows from the collection, cut them up, folded them over, and then I've just sort of put them there with the pegs holding them, just adding a bit more texture and things. I did seal them with glue dots as well, just to keep everything in place. I didn't trust the pegs to do all the work for me. And then just to balance out the thing with the ribbon, I've added just a little scrap of ribbon down the bottom and a bow as well. Here I'm adding some of the sequins, the little fairy iridescent sequins, just popping those on. I started off, I don't think I changed this on the video, but I put them down with tacky glue, but they kept popping up again. So I did go back and add them with tiny glue dots instead, because they were just not getting on with the tacky glue very well. Here, adding some of the little pearls, just a few in each corner, and then a couple of them just fell off the sheet, and I just was like, they can stay where they land. And then I'm going to finish off with my Dovecraft pearl effects. This is the Pastels Lilac. No, it's called Pastel Purple, sorry. And then I'm going to use the Pastel Cream as well, and then tapping them from behind to level them out. I think I started off just thinking I was going to use the purple, and then went, we need something else as well, so I put the cream in there too. And with that, that is the last thing I do to this layout. So I hope you like this one. It's very light and airy and pretty and girly, and not necessarily my usual style, but I do like it a lot. With the Dovecraft pearl drops, by the way, I can very rarely link those for you because they're just so much easier to buy in store in places like Poundland and the Range. So yeah, there won't be links to those, probably not anyway. And that is why, in case you were wondering. But links to everything else that I can find will, as always, be in the description box. So yeah, I'm finished. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. Please leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Chat to me in the comments. Check out Trimcraft's links that are always in the description box. And yeah, okay, quite enough from me now. I'm going. Bye-bye!